Joellen Meyer-Sharp, editor of Indiana Living Green magazine, director of the Garden Writers Association, and gardening columnist for Angies List magazine, says the key to getting your Midwest landscape back in action for spring is to get out there and check out what happened over the winter.
The first thing you need to do is just kind of look at the yard. You'll get an idea of what needs to be done. If there were perennials like coneflowers or black-eyed Susans or hostas that weren't cut back last fall, as soon as you can go out there and cut those back and clean up the beds, that would be good. Kind of raking out the leaves and other plant debris that might be in the beds once the weather warms up a little bit. I think in the Midwest, we're just hungry for sort of nature to take hold in spring, and so we sometimes try to rush that process. And so if you're thinking about digging a new bed or digging out plants or anything like that, you need to make sure that the soil is okay for that. You don't want to dig in soil that's too wet, and when you dig the soil that's too wet, it really destroys the structure of the soil, which can have all kinds of long-lasting effects from drainage to just the quality of the soil.
Once you've assessed the situation outside, selecting the right plants for the season is key.
So you start with generally what they call cool season annuals. Probably the most popular one are pansies because they can tolerate those cooler temperatures and those fluctuating temperatures that we have in spring. And as soon as you see them in the garden centers, you can buy them and put them in your pots or in your landscape as long as the soil isn't frozen. But impatiens, geraniums, the usual kinds of annuals that we have, the coleus, those are best to hold off on planting those until the last frost date, which is in May. In the center part here of the Midwest, it's around May 10th, and then, earlier or later, depending on where you are in the Midwest. But in general, most people are better off checking with their local county extension offices for specific listings of plants for their particular region. Gardening is sort of a grand experiment. It's often described as the slowest of the performing arts, so it teaches us patience. But, not to be too worried about your failures in the garden. I can't tell you how many plants I've killed. And, it's just a part of the learning process.